He wouldn't leave the mouth of that well, not for food, not for sleep, not for 5 straight days. Until someone climbed down to see what was really going on. What they found left the entire town speechless. Because what the shepherd dog was protecting at the bottom of that well wasn't himself. Stay until the end, because this silent act of loyalty will change how you look at dogs forever. George was a widower. He lived alone in a small wooden cabin on the outskirts of Montana. At 72, he walked with a slow shuffle. His spine had curved slightly with age, and his white hair was always tucked under an old knit cap. He had no family left, just one companion who'd been with him for 8 years. Buddy, a gray and black shepherd dog with the heart of a guardian and eyes full of wisdom. One Monday morning, Buddy wasn't waiting on the porch like usual. George called his name, no answer. Worried, he set out along the forest trail behind his house. That's where they often walked together. Hours passed. Then, just past noon, George heard a faint whimper, coming from a long-abandoned stone well hidden behind weeds. He stepped closer and froze. Buddy was trapped at the bottom of the well. George's heart sank. He peered down and saw Buddy lying still, not panicked, just quiet, watching. He called for help. A few neighbors and a rescue worker arrived with ropes and lights. But when they looked down, all they saw was one silent dog. One of the men said, "He's not in pain, just lying there. Maybe he's scared, but he's not even trying to climb." Another shook his head. "We can come back tomorrow. It's just a dog." But George knew better. Buddy never did anything without a reason. George insisted they lower him down. They tied a harness around him and slowly lowered him into the dark, damp stone well. As he reached the bottom, his breath caught. Right next to Buddy was a tiny puppy, so small it could fit in one hand, mud-caked, eyes closed, barely breathing. Buddy had been lying curled around the pup, shielding it from cold and harm for 5 days. George gently picked up the puppy, then reached out and stroked Buddy's head. "You did good, boy. I should have known you were protecting someone." They both were lifted out. Buddy was so weak he could barely stand, but even in exhaustion, he wagged his tail when he saw the puppy wrapped in a warm towel. By evening, word had spread. Locals gathered at George's place. A retired vet who examined them wiped tears from his eyes. This dog, he didn't try to escape. He stayed to keep a baby alive. People brought food, blankets, and donations for both dogs. They started calling Buddy something new, the keeper of the well. The next day, a rescue crew went back to inspect the well. That's when they saw it. Scratch marks, a long slide trail, dog fur on the rocks. Buddy didn't fall. He jumped in. He had heard the puppy's cries and threw himself down to save it. George adopted the puppy and named her Hope. Buddy and Hope became inseparable. And George, once a lonely old man, found joy again. The town embraced them all. Letters poured in. Children drew pictures of Buddy. One local bakery even named a cookie after him. Some heroes don't wear capes. Some don't even bark. They just stay. Stay until the end. Stay through the pain. Stay for someone smaller, weaker, someone who needed them most. But if you think this was the most heartwarming story yet, you haven't heard about the dog cried outside the lion's cage, and then the gate was opened. Watch the video next to this one to see why the whole world wept for one brave little dog.